Good evening, and you're very welcome to another episode of Around the Grounds here at Finalwhistle.ie. A Monday night that sees three games going down for the head. Due to fixture rearrangements from earlier on in the season, we had two games in the Premier Division this evening and one game in the First Division. One of those games was the meeting of Finn Harps and Drogheda. Originally, this was to be one of the opening games, of course, for Finn Harps this season back at the start of the year. But due to stormy conditions, the pitch was under snow, and as a result, the game couldn't go ahead. But we're here tonight at Finn Park. The result, of course, tonight definitely meaning more for Finn Harps. They are currently in the relegation zone, Drogheda just ahead of them, but they were hoping to get a result tonight against Drogheda. It hasn't finished up just yet, but with an update from all of the action at Finn Park is Charlie Collins.
Thanks, Diarmuid. We've got about 4 minutes of normal time to go plus injury time, and it's Finn Harps 2, Drogheda United 2. Drogheda have just equalised within the last couple of minutes. Substitute Ryan Brennan, who was only on the pitch for about 5 minutes, getting on the end of a move and toe poking the ball past Gavin Mulroney, the Harps goalkeeper. The away side had got off to a great start earlier on, and they scored in the early stages of this game to go 1-0 up. That was after just 3 minutes of the game, and Harps looked to be in trouble because Drogheda were really much the better side at that time and deserved to take that lead, and in fact could have been a couple more up in that first 10 minutes. But Harps finally got their act together and equalised with a very, very good goal. A great move, four-man move involving Barry McNamee, and he played the ball through, and it was Milicevic squaring up the ball, and the ball was poked into the net, and a very good goal it was for Harps to get back on level terms. That finish was by Eric McWoods from about 14 yards. Harps took a deserved lead then, a great move again involving McNamee. He played a through ball in, and there was a four-man move. McWoods was on the end of it. Mihailovic then nodded the ball down, and Yoho Madi knocked the ball into the net to make it 2-1. Harps had a couple of great chances there late on in the game. A brilliant clearance off the line by one of the Drogheda defenders when the ball seemed destined for the net from the header from Madi. But then, just before you came across to us, Drogheda getting back in level terms. Real big build up here towards the end. 88 minutes gone here, Diarmuid. It's Finn Harps 2, Drogheda United 2. This one could go anyway yet.
Perfect, Charlie, and I'll of course be back to you just before or just after the full-time whistle sounds there at Finn Park. It seems to be, judging by the weather conditions in Charlie's video there, it seems to be a lovely wet night up in Finn Harps, definitely suiting the home side, but Drogheda of course managing to sneak an equaliser in that one. Now we're looking ahead and going to the First Division. Treaty United were in action against Athlone this evening. Another game that was called off due to a similar storm that saw the pitch was unplayable that day. So, Treaty United definitely needing the result tonight. If they could beat bottom of the table Athlone, it could see them go into the promotion spots. Definitely a point behind Waterford, judging by the results on the previous night. With a report from the Markets Field is Tom Clancy.
Good evening, Diarmuid, and it just finished here at the Markets Field, and it is Treaty United who win out on a scoreline of Treaty United 2, Athlone Town 0. The hosts were full value for the victory, and it took a brace from Dean George to settle this. George was introduced at the 36th minute following injury to Kieran Hanlon, and he played through the middle for the first time this season, and he opened his season account in good style. He was just on the pitch for 6 minutes when he managed to get his foot to a rebound following good play from Stephen Christopher. He whipped it across onto the head of McKean. An excellent save from veteran goalkeeper Michal Schlingerman, but that wasn't enough because Dean George was on hand to ram home against his former club to give Treaty the lead. And that's I would stayed until the 59th minute when George was on hand again with another poacher's finish. He waited patiently as again Stephen Christopher made things happen on the left. He cut inside, had his shot that deflected into the path of George, and he stroked home for 2-0. The game could have been oh so different though if Athlone had taken their chances early in this contest. They did hit the crossbar through midfielder Yuri Habbing on 35 minutes, ball from 35 yards smashing against the Treaty crossbar with Jack Brady stranded, but wasn't to be for Martin's Russell side. They now have just 1 point from their opening 7 contest. That came last Friday against Bray. Treaty full value for it, and as you say, Diarmuid, they have catapulted themselves into the playoff picture up to 4th, point behind Waterford, who they defeated last time out, and it's now consecutive victories for Treaty. That's the first time they've managed to do that in the league since they defeated the same opposition Athlone Town by 4-1 last July. So at last for Tommy Barrett's side, a little bit of consistency in terms of positive results, and they look to build on that as they face Bray Wanderers away on Friday evening.
Perfect, Tom. Thank you for that report from the Markets Field. Now, as Tom alluded to there, it was a great result for Tommy Barrett, definitely to get the consistency back. Treaty were looking a bit slow to kick off the start of the season. I suppose with the game tonight being rescheduled, definitely a big boost for them. 2 wins on the trot, looking ahead to Bray, who aren't exactly doing too well themselves as well. It could see them, if they get the results as well, could see them into the top 2 or 3 in the league, depending on results elsewhere. But another team who are struggling toward the bottom of the table are UCD. They were at home tonight to Derry City. A waterlogged playing surface was the cause of the postponement earlier on in the season. Apparently, it was due to a faulty sprinkler, which had saw play delayed in a game just before that game week as well. But UCD had come out and said that it wasn't a faulty sprinkler, even though the LR Waves were playing just on Saturday last, and their game had to be postponed at the very last second due to a faulty sprinkler. But I don't think there was any faulty sprinkler issues tonight. They took on top of the table UCD. Watching for us was Connor Patterson.
Hey Dermot, how's things? Yeah, I mean, there was obviously supposedly sprinkle trouble before the game or anything. It quite showed tonight. The pitch was looking patchy, it wasn't looking great. Combined with a swirling wind around here in UCD Bowl, created tough conditions for top of the table Derry City. Eventually running out 2-0 winners through goals from Will Patching, and a lovely free kick, and defender Ronan Boyce as well. Found it very difficult though. First half they somehow went in at scoreless at the break, despite hitting the post twice in the first half, through Cameron Dummigan and striker Jamie McGonigal. Jamie McGonigal was finding a lot of space in behind the UCD defence. We were trying to keep pushing high, trying to play the UCD way, struggled to deal with McGonigal's pace up front, and a few times getting in behind and laying the ball off very well. Could have had it 1-0 himself in the first half, found himself with acres of space, but dragged it wide. Lorcan Healy in the UCD goal, again, another fantastic performance from him. Definitely man the match from the UCD's point of view anyway. A couple of times tipping the ball around the post and onto the bar a couple of times. The warning signs were there though early in the second half for UCD. Will Patching again struck the bar from some distance out. And it was about the 67th minute by the time the breakthrough came. A lovely free kick from Will Patching, about 30 yards out. Lorcan Healy this time had no chance. The goal kind of inspired both teams. Both teams kind of tried to push through and respond, but it was Derry City again. His quality shone through. Ronan Boyce got to the end of a cross on the back post, slotted home very easily. Second goal kind of killed the game then. UCD frustrated, a yellow card for substitute Donal Higgins really kind of summed up their frustrations. Always going to be a difficult task against a high-flying Derry City team. So they remain bottom of the table. It is the first defeat at home this season for UCD, despite sitting rock bottom of the table. Previously having draws against Bows, Shells and Finn Harps. So their first taste of defeat here in the Bowl. And definitely a tricky fixture for Derry that they'll be happy to come away with 3 points with.
I was alluding to it, you mentioned there, it's their first defeat of the season at home. They obviously haven't picked up a win yet. Judging by what you've seen at home there tonight, have they shown sparks that they have a bit of quality in the panel to get the result, or is it going to be a bit of a baptism of fire this year where they've only got 3 points from the 3 draws, as you mentioned there?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the teams they played Finn Harps at home, maybe Shells and Bows, so you think they might hope you'd hope that they could be, giving a good account of themselves against. So clearly against a tougher side today, they weren't quite up for it. They certainly know how to frustrate teams at home. Sam Todd and Eric Euro are very strong at the back. Quite different from the rest of the squad, which is kind of fast and pacey. 2 centre backs are very strong. Derry City had a lot of efforts from range that were blocked today. So I think we need a few more games to see can UCD turn Belfield into a bit of a fortress. Maybe it's just the easier fixtures they had at home at the start of the season. Considering that they've some great players that are being kind of scouted elsewhere, they'd want to be turning those into 3 points rather than just keeping them as draws.
Perfect, Connor. Thank you for that report on all of the action at the UCD Bowl. Apologies for the wind interference there with the audio coming out of that report. Now, I was talking to Charlie a few minutes ago to get an update at the game at Finn Park. I believe the full-time whistle has finally sounded at Finn Park, so we'll go back to Charlie just to see if any action is after coming in the final few minutes.
Yeah, we had plenty of action, Diarmuid, but unfortunately for Finn Harps, the goalkeeper Sam Long was in magnificent form for Drogheda here tonight, and he made 2 incredible saves in injury time to keep them on level terms with Harps. Drogheda can feel slightly lucky, I think, if they reflect back on this game. They got an early lead, as I told you earlier on, Jimmy Clark scoring after just 6 minutes. But Harps dominated at the end of the game, despite playing against the elements in the first half. Eric McWoods equalised in the 21st minute, and then Yahoo Maddy, he put them ahead in the 43rd minute, deservedly so. Barry McNamee with a big part to play in those two. In the second half, really, Harps were much the better team with the wind at their back. They looked the more likely to score. Drogheda made a number of changes, 4 substitutes coming off the bench, and it was one of those substitutes, Ryan Brennan, who scored the equalising goal. Harps will be very disappointed with the quality of that goal, really. A ball into the box, it should have been dealt with. It dropped to Brennan, and he toe-poked it into the corner of the net, past the debutant goalkeeper, Gavin Mulroney, who had an excellent game here from Harps, dealing with everything that he needed to. In injury time then, after I'd left you, Harps really dominated. They had a couple of very good chances. The first of those came to Mark Timlin, but he shot over the bar with a slight deflection from the goalkeeper. And then 2 minutes later, a lovely play down the right-hand side. Ryan Connolly gave it to McWoods. McWoods crossed the ball. There was a chance for Maddy. The goalkeeper blocked it somehow, diving to his right-hand side. Timlin came in on the rebound, got a shot in, but the ball was blocked on the line and went out for a corner. So Harps really will be disappointed, I think, not to have taken all 3 points here. Drogheda, despite that good start, struggled at times against the determined Harps team. But in the end, it's all finished level. It's Finn Harps 2, Drogheda United 2, so Harps stayed 2 points behind Drogheda in the league table. Back to you, Diarmuid.
Perfect, Charlie. Thank you for that report from a wet-looking Finn Park. Now we'll just take a look at the league table following the games this evening that we had in both the Premier Division and the First Division. So we'll take a look at the tables that are on the Final Whistle website. As a result, so you see Derry top of the table on 20 points, 6 points now separating them and Shamrock Rovers, of course. Both sides are on 8 games played. Sligo Rovers, of course, will be playing tomorrow evening. They're currently on 12. A win there could see them up into second place. But as Charlie mentioned, they're Finn Harps still on 6 points. They're 3 ahead of UCD, 1 behind Bohemians, and 2 ahead of Drogheda. Drogheda getting the result drop for Drogheda tonight, just enough to see them out of the danger zone for now. And we'll look at the First Division table as well, where we just had the 1 game tonight, and Tom did mention it, of course. The Trinity United are up into 4th place on 10 points, 1 behind Waterford. It's going to be an interesting night come Friday and Saturday to see what way the league table will be looking in that. And we'll just take a look as well at the fixtures, as I mentioned, over the next couple of days in that regards. As we have 1 game in action tomorrow evening. That's the game between Sligo and Bohemians at the Showgrounds. And on Friday, all games kicking off at 7:45 unless stated as well. Drogheda United against Bohemians, Shelburne taking on Shamrock Rovers in Dublin Derby, and St. Pat's are in action as well. On Saturday, on the 9th, Finn Harps are at home to Derry and Sligo are at home to UCD in that one. And on the First Division on Friday, again 7:45 unless stated in that regards. Bray Wanderers taking on Treaty, Cove taking on Waterford, and on Saturday, Galway take on Wexford at 5 p.m. and Longford take on Athlone at 7:30. And we'll just take a look at some of the statistics that we have available on the website following another evening of action in the division. So Aidan Keane remains the top goal scorer in the division. Not sure if we will be seeing him in action tomorrow night. He picked up an ankle injury the last night and might rule him out for a couple of weeks. But Jamie McGonigal closing in on that, as well as Graham Burke and Will Patching, all on 4 goals, while it's a very wide spread toward the other side. And we'll take a look at the clean sheet statistics as well, where Joseph Anang is topping that on 4, but Nathan Shepherd closing in on him, as is Alan Manus. And Lorcan Healy, who Connor mentioned in his report had another big game tonight, is on 2 clean sheets and that. And we'll look ahead and look toward the First Division as well, where Barry Coffey, it seems to be the race for the top goal scorer here is a lot tighter than in the Premier Division, with Brendan O'Brien, Whitmash, Enda Curran Jr., Rory Keating, and Barry Coffey all on 4 goals, while you have Cian Murphy, Lewis Burton, Stephen Walsh, and Dylan McGlade all on 3, closing in behind them. And looking at the clean sheets as well, there's one man who is standing amongst the rest here, and that is David Harrington of Cork City. He is on 6. You have Connor Kearns and Stephen McGuinness onto a piece on that regards. Definitely, he's standing amongst the top goalkeepers in that division as of right now anyway. So we will be back to you tomorrow evening, of course, for that game between Sligo and Bohemians. We'll be around the same time coming to you live tomorrow night. Make sure to have your notifications turned on across the social media platforms to be aware of when we go live for the next episode of Around the Grounds. And we will be back to you again on Friday at the normal time and Saturday as well to bring you all of the action. All of the reports and statistics are all available on our Finalwhistle.ie website this evening. And we will have action, of course, on the League of Ireland podcast this coming Wednesday as well, who will be dissecting all of the action across the Premier and First Division as well. But until next time, have a lovely evening and goodbye.